Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. The newly updated close range meta here in Season 5 Reloaded for Warzone is maybe one of the most competitive, one of the most diverse close range metas that we've had in quite some time. And today, I wanted to break down all of the best weapons for those close range engagements. Starting off first with an absolute melt machine, the Kompakt. This thing caught some nice buffs with Season 5 Reloaded. It's got one of the best TTKs in the game, an obvious choice in that close range meta, and maybe the single best SMG in the game right now, depending on who you ask. So really, you just got to focus on control here. That's why I opt for the compensator, helping out with that vertical control. I personally like Ranger foregrip on here as opposed to vertical, but just because I'm pretty comfortable with the recoil as is. And Ranger, while it offers a little bit less horizontal control, does give you some better sprinting movement speed. So I like being a little bit more aggressive there. Plus, I've also got recoil springs on here too for the better horizontal and vertical control. So in general, this is going to be one of the easier to use compact builds you could rock right now. In addition to that, I also got extended 3. This is a 60 round mag. We do have a 1091 RPM, so the damage per mag stat won't be insane, but the TTK is so fast that it's not really a huge concern there by any means. Then lastly, I've actually switched over to long barrel recently, giving me a better damage range for that faster TTK. So we're out to 15 meters for that, and it's a pretty minimal drop off beyond that. So this thing ends up just being an absolute beast in the close range. So much fun to use. Next up, we've got the Ladra, another fantastic choice. This one a lot easier in terms of recoil control, so it's a little bit more reliable there. Still a really good effective damage range for an SMG, and of course, one of the fastest TTKs in the category as well. I love the feel of this thing. It's one of my favorite SMGs in total, really ever since it was released. For the long barrel here, we're at nearly a 17 meter effective damage range, so that's phenomenal, of course. We got Ranger foregrip on this as well for that better control and mobility there. Extended 2 is actually a 66 rounder in this case, so a little bit more of an added safety net. That's never a bad thing. We won't turn down extra ammo there. Quick draw rear grip for that snappier ADS. And because this thing is a little bit easier, I don't really opt for recoil springs here oftentimes. I'll go for the infiltrator stock instead because I love that added strafe speed in all my gunfights. I just feel like I'm so much more agile and can sort of bob and weave in some of those close range gunfights with that on there. So I love this build. It's really straightforward, but it's also super aggressive and kills very quickly. Now, I know a lot of people saw the nerf to the C9 in the patch notes and said, yes, finally the C9 is done. No, it was a nerf, but it wasn't significant. This thing is still a great SMG choice, and a lot of people are going to default to this because they're familiar with it, they're comfortable with it, and it's super straightforward and well-rounded. It's got good control, good mobility, a good TTK, good range. Like, there's nothing bad about the C9 still, even after the nerf here. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The setup's pretty much the same here. Long barrel gives us an effective damage range of just over 18 meters there. Ranger foregrip for the best of both worlds, control and mobility. Extended 2 is going to be a 50 rounder here. That'll work with this DPM. It's a 732 RPM, so it's not a huge concern there as far as the damage per mag goes. Quick draw rear grip for that snappier ADS, and then I do rock recoil springs. I like the consistency of the recoil here, especially as you venture into maybe some mid-range fights with this where it's still really, really effective. So that just ensures that I'm always on target regardless of where I'm fighting, and it's a really straightforward gun. The Saug is also such a slept on option here. It's got a really reliable TTK, really good range, especially in that second damage range. It's mad aggressive too, especially with this build. I love the feel of it. I've always been a big Saug fan since this was added in as well. It's just never really had the chance to shine as like that obvious #1 SMG, which I'm a little bit bummed about, but it's still absolutely in the close range meta conversation here. Again, rock and long barrel, 16.5 meter effective damage range, so right in the mix there. Ranger foregrip yet again for the better control and mobility. Extended 2 in this case is only a 55 rounder. You do have a 909 RPM, so damage per mag won't be insane, but it's not a major red flag by any means, right? Quick draw rear grip, faster ADS, and then of course recoil springs on here as well for that better control. Clean iron sight based build as well, I should mention. Always a nice little benefit to have there. Just a really fun SMG. By the way, as we are breaking down all the weapons and setups here today, if you guys enjoy the video, you find the information helpful, a like rating is always really appreciated. Help share the video around to new viewers. And if you happen to be one of those new viewers, maybe you haven't subscribed yet, we should change that each and every day. This is the place to be to stay up to date with Call of Duty, so feel free to hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications. Next up, another one of my favorites currently, the PPSH, a spray and pray machine. Fast TTK, really good range as well. This thing is just a ton of fun to run and gun with. I do a decent bit of hip firing with this as well. I sort of play into that a little bit. Obviously, long barrels on here, like always, 16.5 meter effective damage range. G grip here, though, is where things are really useful because this helps out that hip fire to ADS accuracy. So I do a lot of transition here where I'll start the gunfight as a hip fire. If I'm playing close range, I'll turn a corner, start spraying that hip fire and transition into the ADS. There's a good chance I'm going to land a decent bit of those hip fire shots which means I'll have an edge on the opponent there, as I'm going to be landing more shots before they could potentially get their sights up and start firing back. So that helps out a ton there. Plus added recoil control, never a bad thing. Extended 2 is actually a 71 round mag right now, so love to see that. Plenty of ammo to spray and pray. Agility stock on here for the better ADS speed and better strafe as well. All these stocks, quite frankly, are good. It's just a matter of, do you want better strafe outright? Do you want better slide to fire? Do you want a better ADS only? Do you want you know, some general movement and some hip fire stuff? To me, agility is what plays into my play style the best. And then lastly, recoil springs, definitely want this on there. The iron sights are okay if you're not using a blueprint or anything, but recoil springs, just make sure you're accurate there, as you are spraying and praying and melting enemies left, right, and center. Now, maybe a little bit slept on, but the TR2 full auto conversion mag is actually fantastic as a close range choice. It's got a TTK that's right up there with the other main SMG metas. So while it's not a true SMG, with the conversion kit on here, it's able to compete with them almost one-to-one in a lot of scenarios. You just got to get familiar with how the gun feels, how it behaves in terms of control and everything. But obviously, you got to have the TR2 CQB auto conversion on here. That's the most important part of the setup and the only reason it's in the close range meta here, turning it from a marksman into an SMG. We got the full auto extended mag on here, the only option there. This is a 50 rounder, so that'll work fine for all squad sizes. Quick draw rear grip to speed things up, make it a little bit more snappy with that ADS. Vertical foregrip for the better horizontal control, and then the compensator for the better vertical control to make things a little bit easier across the board. I don't think a lot of people realize this is as good as it is. It's a phenomenal close range choice. All right, folks, we're in for a treat today because I've got my hands on the brand new Formula 2.0 from G Fuel. So here's the deal. I've got a classic little hype sauce packet here, one of my all-time favorite flavors, the raspberry lemonade. It's top 3, no question about it. I've got the new and improved hype sauce flavor. We're gonna do a little taste test, 1-to-1, see which one comes out on top. All right, first up, I present the classic hype sauce flavor. Like I said, this is already one of my favorites. I know what I'm expecting here, but for the sake of the taste test, I mean, it's a classic. It's good. I know exactly what I'm getting, and it's phenomenal. But I'm really curious to see what our brand new hype sauce flavor tastes like here. First try. Haven't had it before in my life. It's good. It's good. So hey, if you want to grab the new and improved G Fuel flavor hype sauce, I cannot recommend enough. This thing is the GOAT here. Be sure to throw in code WhosImmortal. That'll save you some money. Link is going to be in the description below if you're interested. The LC10, even though it was nerfed way back at the start of season 5, is also still a really reliable choice. Low recoil, still a really fast TTK, especially in that first damage range, which of course falls right into the close range meta definition there, basically. So compensator on here for the better vertical control. Long barrel in this case extends out that damage range to just under 15 meters there, which isn't too bad. Extended 2 here, going to be a 55 rounder. That'll work fine. We do have an 800 RPM, so nothing too worrying there with the damage per mag. Infiltrator stock for that better strafe. Then I go for recoil springs outright instead of something like a Ranger foregrip, just for the better horizontal and vertical to ensure I'm as accurate as possible and I can get that fastest TTK, because of course a weapon could have the broken most fast TTK in the entire game, but if it shoots to the sky right away or you're missing all your shots, those TTK stats don't matter. So we want to be accurate here. This helps out a ton with that. And then also, as a part of the close range meta, I want to talk some exclusive sniper support choices as well. I feel like those sort of overlap as the same general niche meta here. So the FFAR is a close to mid-range option, prime for sniper support, probably the #1 choice in the entire game if we're being honest here. First up, Otero Red Dot. Always my go-to optic here if I want something that is easy to see, easy to spot enemies with low visual recoil and not too much zoom. This fits all of that perfectly there. Compensator for the better control, of course. We got to be as accurate as possible here. FFAR also has some pretty noticeable recoil, so we want to attack that where we can, which is why I also run vertical foregrip here as well for the horizontal control. Extended mag 2 here, 60 rounder, works fine for all squad sizes. Then just to keep things aggressive, infiltrator pad for that better strafe speed. Obviously helps out a ton in that sniper support range. Really just the best complement to an HDR, a Kar 98K, an LR762, whatever your sniper choice preference is. The striker is also insanely slept on. In general, just because it's an MW3 gun, people don't look towards it, but this thing's got an insane range. Perfect for an SMG sniper support build here. You got to get used to how it feels because it's not a BO6 gun, so there are some differences there, but if you can learn it, this thing melts when you get into like that second damage range territory where other SMGs just cannot keep up whatsoever here. So not a huge fan of the irons. I go for the slate reflector, simply a matter of preference. Use whatever scope you want there. Sonic suppressor will function the same as the other suppressors, extending out our range and our velocity, and then the recon long barrel is going to give us better range and velocity as well. So you got a 667 velo, nearly a 15-meter effective damage range with a very minimal drop off beyond that. Jack Slash on here for the better control and mobility. That's a win-win as always. And then we also got the 60-round extended mag on there. Pretty basic, no surprise there. But yeah, the Striker is one of the best non-BO6 guns in the entire game. And then lastly here, the KSV, another really good sniper support choice. This was also buffed with Season 5 Reloaded with its range to make it even more effective as a sniper support. So yeah, absolutely love to see that. I go for an iron sight based build here. I'm not a huge fan of the irons, but I can make them work, especially with this build. Focusing on the compensator to help out that control makes you more accurate, especially with the irons on there. Long barrel gives us a 20-meter effective damage range, which is so good for an SMG. Ranger foregrip for better mobility and control. Extended 2 here, a 50 rounder, but you only got an 800 RPM, so that's going to work fine. Then again, infiltrator stock for the better strafe. If you guys can't tell, I really enjoy having good strafe speeds on my guns. Just feels fantastic. That said though, the close range meta feels fantastic. You got so many good choices right now. There's even mentions that aren't on this list that are right up there too that you could bring up. Like there's so many good SMGs, so many good close range builds, which is nice to see. I wish there was more MW2 and MW3 options in the mix, but this is a very competitive close range meta as it stands. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like on it. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button on your way out. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day. I'll catch you later. Peace out.